Welcome back to Bloodstock TV. I am sitting here with Ivar from Enslaved. Absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for dropping by. How are you doing? All good?
All good. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. Our pleasure. I'm just going to jump right into it. So this has been, if my calculations are correct, your first time at Bloodstock in 9 years, I think.
Yeah, we're just talking about that backstage.
Yeah.
So that's correct. Yeah.
9 years. How time flies. Listen, belated congratulations on him and Dahlia, the album. Absolutely fantastic. Now, a deluxe version of the album came out, obviously, in March. And I wanted to ask you about the alternative versions of Forest Dweller and Congelia, obviously recorded with Joe Quail. Did that happen during the original recordings of the album, or was it something that you decided to do afterwards?
It happened in the aftermath because we did a release show on the day it came out.
Okay.
3rd of March 2023. A very symmetrical number, so we could remember it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Joe Quail came over. We invited her to do those songs with us on the release party. And that just sounded so good.
Mm.
And we figured this got to be immortalized somehow. And that's how it came about. She did recordings in her studio in the UK, and yeah.
And where was the connection between Enslaved and Joe prior to that?
Yeah, it's. I also run a record company together with my friend Einar from Vardruna and our manager.
Mm.
3 of us started By North Music in 2016, and Joe Quail happens to be one of the recording artists there. Mm. And as I was thinking about who to invite to play with us for the release party, because we wanted a bunch of different artists to be part of the celebration, it just came about. She's doing a thing that we feel related to, even now, though the sonic expression is somewhat different, we just have a feeling that we had the same approach, and turned out to be right, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it was probably a very unassuming one of those things that the chemistry just works. It's the magic of music, of just collaborating with people. Just speaking of which, I mean, Enslaved sound, I mean, it has evolved significantly over the years that you've been together, obviously incorporating elements of progressive rock and psychedelia, etc. Just how do you see the band's musical journey moving forward? Because every time a new album comes out, I sort of brace myself and I just think, where are they going to go with this now?
Yeah.
And it feels to me that you've released any shackles of you just do what makes you guys happy, and you're on the verge of just this incredible cusp of insane creativity all the time. So yeah, just in terms of musical direction of where you see in the future, or has there been any new stuff that you've been messing around with?
Yeah, I'm working on new material as we speak. That usually happens quite soon after a release. But I have no idea where it's going either. I think it's an honest thing to say. As long as if you're writing music, you're part of a tradition or whatever, and you have to be open to the fact that you're being influenced by what's happening. Mm. So it's also depending a little bit what's happening in the musical world in general.
Yeah,
I would say, I think Enslaved is original.
Very much
but
so.
I'm still confessing to whatever. If another band is now making a record, that might be influencing us. For me, I'm influenced by going to a club or we're playing at the festival and checking out the band, and right there and then that can just trigger something in me. Mm. Some really, I think and we're music collectors,
Yes.
So yeah, it's about being open.
All the time.
All the time.
This is the channel, with everything coming through, like a net, and you just catch some things,
exactly.
And other things you let go.
My metaphor was the bubble. It's a water surface, and then something's happening down there, and it's coming up, and it's about like catching the bubbles.
Yeah, absolutely great analogy. I mean, the band's been together now for over 3 decades, and this journey of what you sounded like when you started off. I mean, would you ever have guessed that you would have embraced so many progressive kind of influences into the music? And
no, not really.
That's a perfect example of just letting yourself be free, though. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many weird episodes of like things happening, like by accident. Being on an. When we were younger, we were a little bit more experimental, I guess, than now.
Yeah.
Now we're all, some of us are fathers and take it easy. We're like, oh, I think I've had 40 pints, so I'll take it easy now. Compared to the young days, then it would be like, yeah, bring it on and do this and that. And, and at the end of some crazy acid trip, you'd end up in some weird place and somebody play you King Crimson for the first time.
And then you're like, oh my God.
Like, yes, all right, so this is the future.
Yeah.
And weird things like that, all kinds of weird coincidences happening. And that shaped us. But I would like to say that in the beginning, it was all about creating our own little world.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was, the whole like early Norwegian scene was not that elitist and conformist as you can get an impression from all these weird books coming out. It was all about like getting the cred, was all about like, okay, this is weird, this is new. That was like the good thing. Sounding like everybody else was just frowned upon,
Yeah. So it's just breaking into new territory and new sounds, I suppose.
Yeah.
One thing, just as kind of a hot topic at the moment, and a concerning one for all bands, I just want to get your perspective on it, is just the ever post-COVID, post-lockdown, just the cost of touring everything right now is just sort of astronomical and very terrifying for a lot of bands, and especially coming from Europe and you want to take the band over to America or down to Australia, New Zealand, etc. Has that, you've noticed a massive impact with the capabilities of doing that, and does it concern you in the future about, Jesus Christ, it's just not financially viable to do this?
Yeah, it's always there, but we've been through a couple of rounds of death of possibilities. We were there when the whole digital. We started out as a band before anybody had the word digital.
Yeah.
So we went through that, going with the piracy, all that stuff. And now we're at the point, to make a comparison, where we're actually discussing how much you should get paid. It's very low, but we were still there when we were supposed to accept that you didn't get paid at all. Mm. So that's progress, and that's what we're thinking about this too. It's tough. It's gonna even out at some point, because you have the musical audience. They're being underestimated all the time. It just needs a lot of time for them to get the right information, and they'll make the choices. I think, we've never been a band that's about like, we're going to make a living from, and we're going to lie around playing PlayStation all day.
Sounds good though.
and do music. We can do that too, but we still have our businesses.
Of course.
That makes us able to survive. If the band, we had a discussion about this, and it said like, what about if we can't go out on the road again? And then Grutle the singer said, we'll still be in the rehearsal room, have some beers.
I love just don't worry about it. It's fine. We'll get through it. Or maybe just do like a virtual show or something like that. Yeah. I mean, it's not the same, but it's better than nothing. Okay, well, look, I just wanted to ask you, Enslaved fans out there that want to know what's going to be happening towards the end of this year into 2025 or even 2026. Is there new material in the works? When can we project hearing something new? Is there any tours or collaborations or anything you want to just put out there right now?
We'll keep touring, we'll keep playing. There is new material in the works, but it's getting, it's. I guess I'm as a songwriter, I'm my own worst enemy in the sense that I keep writing stuff that keeps getting more and more hard to put into the real world, but that's how we want it. It's I really like the sound of the new stuff, and the guys in the band. We never had a stronger lineup than now. I don't know when, but it's coming out. I think it's going to be strong.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, it's enslaved. I mean, it's just, you can't argue with that. Listen, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you guys are really, really busy, and it means a lot to us to have you here. And anyone out there that has not heard any of the new stuff yet, please do. It's absolutely fantastic. And buy records. Buy records. That's what we need you to do. Thank you so much. Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Great. Thank you.
Appreciate it.